How's it going, everybody? Josh here from Spawn Fly Fish, and we are back with a tying tutorial. Today, this is going to be a very simple one and like things that you've seen in the past, but we got a bunch of questions not asking for what the fly was like, but for what it was. So today we are going to go over exactly what it was when we were catching countless coho all fall long. So I hope you enjoy it. Grab your tying stuff and follow along. All right, in the vise, we have an Ahrex SA254 number 6, and we have a Spawn super slotted tungsten bead in metallic gray. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to throw in some lead-free wire wraps, 0.025, just to secure that super bead. Now, this might seem like we've tied a lot of flies like this, but when we get requests for the specifics of what we're catching fish on, we do want to highlight those, and we had many questions about what was that black and blue fly that myself and Pete were catching a ton of coho on, and we are going to tie up exactly the same one rather than say it's similar to one that we've tied before. So we have some Danville 210, and we're just going to create a thread base here, 45s on that lead-free wire, and then straight in, locking that into place. And this is a small fly, so when you're fishing this, you are going to run into some cutthroat as well. This is by no means a strictly coho fly, but this was a phenomenal producer all season long, especially when it came to targeting these fish in smaller systems. Alright, so the next thing we have is a Zonker black rabbit strip, and we're going to tie that on the bottom. Almost everything's going to come off the bottom of this pattern, and that is not by accident. We want that sort of drop effect. If you look at some of the twitch and jigs that are out there, a lot of them have the rubber legs, which will come off the bottom of this fly. They have some of the flash that will come off the bottom of this fly, so when it drops, it really pulses those materials. Next thing we're going to do here is we are going to add a little flash, and this is in Sardine. We got a decent amount. Hopefully you can see that really well on the screen, but we do have a good chunk of that here. We want this to have some flash involved. Just really winch that down and kind of level that out. Now we're just going to fill in the gaps here a little bit, create a little more smooth tying foundation here. Doesn't need to be perfect, and we will rotate that back over. Now this is a really simple fly, but all the elements are important. So we're going to throw in a loop and get our dubbing spinner. We'll get this out of the way here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but that's okay. Alright, we got the bobbin out of the way there with the cradle. Sorry about that on the focus side. And what we're going to get into now is the black-blue UV Spawn Simi Seal. This is just frankly phenomenal. If you haven't got a pack of this, it is redesigned, and it is a must-have for a plethora of species. So we're just going to create a bit of a ladder here. Perfect, and we're going to spin that up. You could also do a clump and dump, works very well, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to use a little dubbing loop. And I did forget my dubbing brush, but I will be brushing this out. So if you're at this step here, be sure you brush it out and get all those loose fibers out of the way. Totally okay if you don't. At this phase, just make sure you do it at the end. Alrighty. when you are using either the wrapping or the rotary function of your vise, just bring all of these fibers back upon themselves. The water will help. It'll train the fibers, but we want it to be pretty bushy, but not we don't want them to just be pointing the wrong direction. There we go. Perfect. Get that bobbin back out of the cradle there. Move the cradle out of the way without tripping the focus of the camera. And we will lock that into place. Alrighty. So like I said before, this is going to be a good opportunity right now to use a dubbing brush, really thin it out and make sure that any loose fibers are going to come off on your desk and not in the water. So that'll be a good opportunity for that. Alright, so like I mentioned earlier, we're going to add some legs, and we are going to add them on the bottom here. I don't want them on the sides. I want them to drop as fast as possible and pulse as much as possible on this jig-oriented fly. So we got a tab of 4 here. Turn it upside down for you guys to see. And just smack dab on the bottom. Fold it over. Right on top of itself. And trim it this just a little bit shorter than the flash. As you can see, those are going to hang down like so. And we're pretty much done here. There's very little left to do on the fly. All we're going to do here is we're going to take a little more Spawn Simi Seal in that black UV blue, and we're going to just kind of finish out the head of this fly. You can do another dubbing loop here. I'm going to do a clump and dump. Just clump it on there, fail it back. Ensure that it's evenly distributed. And that's pretty good. Not bad. Give a couple more thread wraps here. And we will whip finish. Like I said before, it's not something crazy new that you're seeing from us on this channel, on this video, but it is very specific. So if you wanted to see exactly the pattern that we were using with every material and color wave, this was one that was simply getting it done. Next coho season, I would highly, highly recommend that you have a plethora of these in your box, tied exactly like this. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to come in with a little head cement, keep those loose fibers out of the way. Again, if you have brush available, brush it out. I forgot mine, but just get in there and get a little head cement, because this thing's going to get chewed on. Alrighty, everybody, I hope you liked that. Again, thank you guys for reaching out and asking for these specific patterns that we are using this fall for coho, as well as cutthroat. This was a producer day in, day out. As always, hit like, hit subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.